A day and a half.
Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Long time no see. I have to be honest, I have not been putting in the work that I usually put in out here in the garage. I have taken off 4, 5, 6 weeks out here and have not been doing much of anything. I've ordered a few parts for the transmission rebuild, but I have to say that some other people have been putting in work on the Integra. As you can tell by the video title and the thumbnail, I do have the JDM Integra back, and it is looking better than ever. Really the backstory on the Integra is I had it imported, or bought it from an importer at the end of 2022, and I was really expecting to have to repaint it, and I was going to do that work myself, but I kind of put it off a little bit because I was working on other projects. And I really just got down to the point where I wanted to get this car done, and I was in the position after I sold the Subaru STI to actually move some of that money into the Integra. So I just decided to have somebody that I know, Cecil at Auto Art, paint this car because I saw that he had done some good work from another friend of mine. And so I dropped this thing off back in January. I did show it in a video talking about dropping this thing off. I dropped it off, and I got it back at the end of March, which is a pretty quick turnaround considering he does pretty much all the work himself. And I was also going to have him paint the wheels, but after talking with a couple of friends of mine and actually some past experience with painted wheels, I decided to hold off on having him paint the wheels, and I ended up finding some powder online. Allpaintspowder.com has a Honda Championship White powder available, and I got with a local powder coater. He purchased that powder and used that on these wheels here, so the wheels are looking fresh as ever with a fresh coat of powder coat. I did throw a coat of ceramic coat on there, so that should help with the keeping the brake dust off of there. The wheels look great. I've got some Falcon 615K tires on here, so that should help this thing stick to the ground. But the next thing that I want to do on the car is suspension, and I do have the suspension here today, and that's what we're going to be working on. But first, let's take a look at the car in its current state. All right, as you can tell, I did go with the Silver's NeoMax coilover setup. I wasn't necessarily looking for a top tier coilover because this car will not be tracked and I will not be putting it through any kind of major aggressive driving. I'll drive it a little bit on the weekends, take it to Tail of the Dragon. My friends recommended the Silver's NeoMax, and I got these for a good price from Import Image Racing. These are really just kind of a middle-of-the-road coilover setup, similar to the BC Racing. I was really wanting to get some Fortune Auto 500 coilovers, but the lead time on those was about 2 months approximately from the time you order, the time you get them. And I was really wanting to get this car lowered and the new suspension setup on here sooner than that. So I went ahead and got these. I'm hoping these are going to be sufficient for my needs. I think they will be. I was happy with my BC Racing on the STI for several years, and these are a similar type coilover. The suspension that I took off the car, as you can tell, it's not 100% OEM. That is a yellow shock body. It looks like an OEM spring to me, but I believe after a little bit of research that these are Spoon, like an OEM upgrade strut that you could buy. I'll show a picture here of what I saw online. These look to be in pretty good shape. They actually rode really nice, but the car set up so high, they're designed for a stock ride height, and I wasn't looking for a stock ride height. So if you're interested in that setup there, I'll probably sell that because I'm not going to have any reason to hang on to those. As long as these hold up and I'm happy with these, I'm not going to be throwing those back on the car. So I do plan on swapping out other suspension items on the car. This car probably needs new bushings, new sway bar end links, control arms, different items like that that are just kind of worn out over time. The car itself has 124,000 miles or approximately 200,000 kilometers. So I do want to do the brakes on the car. They need to be upgraded, as well as the timing belt water pump, which I've mentioned before. That's going to be an important one. And one thing that I seem to always neglect is the fuel system on these cars. I really don't do a lot of fuel system upgrades or treatments, but thanks to Techron, they did send out their high mileage fuel system cleaner for this build, especially because this does have over 75,000 miles, and anything over 75,000 miles is considered high mileage. It's recommended to use Techron High Mileage Fuel System Cleaner every 1,000 miles to help clean and protect against corrosion. Techron High Mileage helps restore power and performance by removing gums, varnishes, and other fuel system deposits. Over time, cars can lose power due to corrosion and deposit buildup in the fuel system. Techron High Mileage is designed to clean those deposits and actually protect against corrosion in the fuel system in high mileage applications. This car came with 200 horsepower out of the factory. I'm sure it's not up to 200 horsepower today, but I look forward to the improvements that Techron's going to provide. All right, with the Techron High Mileage treatment complete, let's get some coilovers installed. All right, 2 or 3 tries later, I finally got the ride height set. I didn't show that on camera, but out of the box, these things were sitting super low. I got it where I wanted it. I'm pretty happy with how it looks, as long as they don't settle too much. I'm just gonna have to keep my eye on that, make sure they don't get too low again. I want drivability, and I don't want super slammed where it's gonna cause problems just driving it around the road. Now, these Silvers coilovers were like $1,300, so they're kind of middle of the road coilovers, like I'd mentioned. I was wanting the Fortune Autos, but I didn't really want to wait. I kind of impatient. I got these things overnighted. I want to get these things installed as soon as possible. I'll probably end up having to get some more camber arms on here just to get the camber dialed in. It's really sitting a little bit negative, so I don't think it's going to be too bad. That's how the CRX is. I don't really have too many camber adjustments on here. I did get the camber kit in the back, but it's sitting pretty negative as well, and it looks pretty similar between the two. Now the headlights on this car, I didn't mention that, but I did replace the headlights with some refurbished ones. The ones that I had some chrome flaking off the inside, and I really wasn't looking to pull the headlights apart and refurbish those. These things are pretty expensive, so I just wanted to get something and throw them in there and be set. So I'm super happy with how the car turned out. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below on the car, the coilovers, the ride height, anything. I want to hear your thoughts on it. I'm ready to drive this car, and I'm finally happy that it's in a state where I can drive it and enjoy it. So stick around for the next video. I'm not sure what I'll be doing, but we'll see you then.